back to episode 3. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit today. First thing we want to do is expand our housing so that more NPCs can move in. There's going to be 2 or 3 more NPCs coming in pretty quick. So we're just going to go ahead and get enough housing for 4 NPCs total before we start digging underground a little more. So we're going to speed things up a little bit because nobody wants to sit here and watch me chop down trees all day. Okay, so since we haven't planted anything in these pots yet, I'm just going to get rid of them now. So we want to expand our housing out this direction. There, and already we can see the merchant has arrived. That is very good. And there we have it. The basis for a very simple apartment complex. We've already got the merchant and the demolitionist have moved in. We'll go see what they do in a moment. I like to tell new players to set up their very first base like this. The main reason is because it's very functional, it's very compact, very low on the resources, so you don't have to worry about decorating too much or anything, and it just gets everything taken care of. So let's move on down here, and we'll see what our new NPCs have for us. So merchant obviously has things for sale. Very basic items, but he has a few items that you can only get from him. Most important right now is this bug net. That's going to allow us to start fishing. So we're going to buy that, put it in our inventory right away. The second and third thing you should get from him are the piggy bank and then maybe the mining helmet. They're both a little more expensive. Piggy bank is 1 gold, which we don't quite have yet. Mining helmet is 4 gold, but when you're wearing it, it casts light around you. You don't have to worry about torches, so it's kind of a nice thing. But we'll just keep that in mind. We want to come back and get a piggy bank as soon as we can. Let's see what the demolition has for us. He sells explosives, grenades, bombs, and dynamite to be exact. Explosives are pretty easy to find though, so unless you really need them for something, I wouldn't spend very much money on them. Demolitionist shows up once we have found some explosives. In this case, we found some grenades earlier on. So as soon as we had housing available for him, he moved in. Merchant shows up once you have enough money and an available house. I'm not sure what the threshold is. I think it's like 60 silver coins or something. But either way, we're starting to get a nice little base here. So I'm going to turn my wood walls back into wood because I forgot. Wait, what just happened? No, that's not it. There we go. Okay. I also want to get the iron out and use that to craft an iron fishing rod. Reinforced fishing pole, that's what it's called. You can make one out of wood, but it is pretty weak. You need a certain amount of fishing power to catch the special unique fish. So it's definitely worth spending resources and money to get better fishing poles. Alright, so we're going to put the iron back, and let's also store a few other things. We don't have any seeds yet, so let's just put the pots away for now. Put the gel away. Keep that, keep that, keep that. We're going to put the bug net up in our toolbar. And with that, I think we're good to go. So, now that we've got a much better base built, we are going to start digging down into the dungeon. Not dungeon, sorry. We're going to dig deeper into caves. And in the caves, we are looking for basically three things. We want to upgrade our equipment. That means getting better armor, better weapons. If I can get distracted for a moment. Worms here are one of the best pieces of bait that you can use. You find them everywhere, and they have 25% bait power, which is pretty good. So anytime you see worms, you want to catch those. Sometimes you can find a lot of them hiding behind rocks, such as that. So I'm going to break these rocks. None behind there. I see one laying on the ground there. They do come out while it's raining, so that's a good time to stock up on your bait. There are other things that can be used as bait, such as fireflies and frogs and... not frogs. What am I thinking? Tons of things. Grasshoppers. Grasshoppers can be used as bait. Tons of things. But worms are probably the best you're going to get for now. So as I was saying, we want to go underground. We want to get better metal ores to craft better tools and armor and weapons. We want to find better weapons and accessories from the chests underground. And we want to find the ever important heart crystals to increase our max health. That was very important. And we also really want to get some maneuverability equipment. That's stuff that makes it easier for us to explore. That's going to be a grappling hook is very important, as well as any accessories that increase our movement speed, give us abilities like double jump, so that sort of stuff. And we just picked up a whole bunch of fallen stars. I'm going to go ahead and make a mana crystal. And bam, we got 40 now. I can make another one. Yay! That means is we can cast our little wand of sparking spell many more times before we run out of mana. Let's put those back in ammo, and let's get underground. Ah, I thought this was a bigger cave. It is a bigger cave. Ha! Here we go. This is a very good find. Climbing claws let you sort of stick to walls. You can jump off of the walls, and it allows us to explore with a lot less chance of falling to our death. And you can also see that these are warding climbing claws. Warding gives us +4 defense, which at this stage is phenomenal. Warding is actually the most amount of defense an item can give you in a modifier like that. So that's a very good find. And the rest of this we're just going to loot all. And don't forget to take the chest with you. Alright, here we go. Right off the bat we found our first heart crystal. Smash that and get a life crystal. And if you use that, we get 20 more hit points. So we want to go well out of our way to find those. There is no rhyme or reason, they are just all over the place underground. So best way to find them is to cover as much ground as quickly as possible. That's why I recommend not wasting your time digging through huge walls and rather trying to find links of large open caves. And right there, we found our first trap. There's a little pressure plate on the ground there. I can dig it up there. And if we select the pressure plate, you can see a red wire running right over to this dart trap. We can mine both of those and take them with us. We can then set them up to make traps for monsters and stuff. But that's not till later. We need to find a certain NPC that sells us wire, and then we can use that wire to set up those traps. So it's good to start collecting it now. Cobweb has several uses. Best thing cobweb does is make silk, which is used for quite a few very important things. And here's a nice little trick. When you're digging in water, if you seal it above you, you don't have a whole lake's worth of water falling in behind you. And we can easily jump up and get more air. Okay, so this is why I recommend playing on the highest resolution possible. From way over here, I was able to see the jellyfish swimming around in this cave. Also, the nurse just arrived because we have increased our max health. That's the requirement for her. Another thing that happened, one of those slimes dropped a gold coin, which is enough to get our piggy bank. So I'm going to use a recall potion, get us back to base real quick. Go find our merchant buddy. I'm going to buy that piggy bank. Now the piggy bank is just like any other chest, except anything we put in here is going to stay inside this piggy bank. So it effectively increases our inventory by on the right here, this funny looking plant, that is called blink root. It grows underground, it is also useful in many potions, so we're just going to take it with us. It is not blooming right now, and it tends to bloom kind of randomly. Plants only drop seeds while they are blooming. But since you find it all over the place on the ground, it's not so critical. Also, one thing I noticed, can you see that round rock right there? That is a boulder, and it is part of a boulder trap. So directly underneath that boulder, we'll find a pressure plate. There it is. I'm going to take that away. Actually, I'll set it off just so you guys can see what happens. But I need to set it off, and I need to run like crazy, because if that thing lands on me, I will die. Probably the second most common way for new players to die. So set it off, and this is kind of tense. There it goes. It drops, and then it rolls one way or the other. And it only drops once, so once you've set it off, there's no immediate need to disarm it. But, like I said, pressure plates can be used by ourselves later on, so might as well use it. Or take it with us. When you're digging underwater like this, you want to make sure you give yourself some little air holes to breathe out of. And you can also use them for lighting torches. Right here we've got a different kind of ore. Tungsten. So this is the equivalent of silver. Each world generates with one of two kinds of ore for each level. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but basically you either get copper or tin, iron or lead, silver or tungsten, in gold or platinum. They added that in a patch about a year ago, and it's really just to add a little bit of variety between the worlds, but functionally they are the same. So don't get depressed if your world has tungsten instead of silver or something. It really doesn't matter. So digging to this side isn't really paying off for me. I'm going to try and dig down more, straight down, try and get deeper. Now this down here, this is one of the new biomes, and I happen to know that the monsters are fairly tough at this point. I'm going to kind of go the other way here. Okay, so we've stumbled upon a new enemy that hurts a lot. Plus there's one of these things, Granite Elemental. I'm gonna get out of here. So, yeah, getting really far away from monsters makes them despawn. So hopefully we can make our way back there and they won't be there anymore. While we're here, let's just kind of sort our inventory, and we will go through and see if we can't craft anything. I've got some seeds now, so I'm going to put these clay pots back down. I guess the table's as good a place as any. Let's put one day bloom and one blink root. Why not? Huh. And right on cue, the traveling merchant has arrived. He shows up randomly and sells you a random assortment of stuff. Some of it is very expensive and some of it is very good. A lot of it is just, a lot of it is kind of aesthetic, things to decorate your house with, things that are kind of fun. But it's always worth taking the time to see what he has. Like that ammo box is really nice if you're going to be using a bow and arrow or guns or anything, but we don't have near that much money. We also have a lot of ore. So let's get rid of all the stuff that is not ore related, and then we'll see what we can't craft. Okay, minecarts, you can use those on the mine tracks. You can craft them and place them yourself, or sometimes you find some already out there. I'm going to go ahead and build some chain because I may have enough amethyst to make a amethyst grappling hook, but I don't see it as an option, so I don't think I have enough. Yep. So we'll have to keep an eye out for amethyst, because if we can get, I think you need 15, so if we can find 3 more chunks of amethyst, we've got ourselves a grappling hook. But it's okay that we built the chain already, because we can use that to craft some more advanced crafting stations, namely the Sawmill And the sawmill will allow us to craft, where is it? The loom. And the loom is going to let us turn all of this cobweb into silk. And silk can then be used to make a bed. You always want to have at least one bed, and I'll show you why. We're just going to find somebody's house to put this in. I didn't build a lot of extra room into these houses. This one, if we move the furniture, this one will work. So let's plop that bed down, and the table, and the chair. Now if you right click on a bed, you set your spawn point. From now on, when I jump into the game, or if I die and respawn, it's going to be right here in this bed. So that's how you change your spawn. So let's look at, just going to move these out of my way a bit. Now these more advanced crafting stations, I like to leave them at the base, because chances are you're not going to need them out in the field. But these basic three, the furnace, your workbench, and your anvil, they come in handy all the time. So let's look and see. We can make a amethyst staff, which is an upgrade to our magic weapon, but we want to save those up, try and get a grappling hook. Looking at our tungsten equipment, we can see the pickaxe at 50% power and can mine meteorite. That's a significant upgrade over our copper, but I'm going to hold out till we get the gold equivalent of it. It does make mining a little bit faster to get a stronger pickaxe, so if you want to spend the resources to get that one, then I wouldn't blame you. But personally, I'm going to wait. Same is true for these other two resources, or tools, the axe and the hammer. You don't use either of those quite as much, so those can wait until you get a much better improvement. Tempted to get the broadsword, maybe even the bow. I don't know, we're doing okay on the ranged department. I think having a strong melee weapon wouldn't be too bad right now. Armor is very expensive when it comes to the metals. As you can see, we've got 15 tungsten bars. We don't even have enough for one piece of armor. Here, you can see the iron helmet. We've got 21 iron bars. Iron helmet costs 20. And if you've been following along, we have been mining a ton of iron. So that just goes to show how expensive armor is. And that's why we want to wait until we can get a very significant upgrade on the armor before we start trying to craft a new set. So I think I'm just going to take the broadsword for now. If you do not have a good ranged weapon, I would also recommend getting the bow. It only takes 7 bars for the bow, and it uses just your basic arrows, which you find all over the place. You can also craft them, or buy them from your merchant, and you can combine arrows with torches to make flaming arrows, which do more damage and have a chance to set the enemies on fire. So something you might want to consider. I'm going to pick these back up, and we'll call that an episode. Next time we'll keep digging, we'll try and find some more life, some more accessories, and continue getting ready for our first boss. So hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.